J.G. Ballard, British author, said, "Civilized life, is based on a huge number of illusions in which we all collaborate willingly. The trouble is we forget after a while that they are illusions, and we are deeply shocked when reality is torn down around us." So what exactly is this idea of normalcy? Normalcy is the state of being usual, typical, and expected. President Warren Harding coined the term to describe returning to normal life after the war. Normal is a word used to describe individual behavior that conforms to the most common behaviors in society. Individuality and abnormality are recognized as contrasting traits when compared to the idea of normalcy. Normalcy is typically a positively connotative word, and individuality is typically associated with the negative. By conforming to society's norms and common behaviors, we are denying ourselves that sense of individuality. So why would we deny ourselves? We keep contributing and keep alive this idea of normalcy in order to feel comfort and acceptance. We find safety in the idea of being alike. We as humans deeply desire to fit in and belong to groups. It's a part of our human nature. The issue with this sense of normalcy is that it's a concept created by society that doesn't really exist. We keep aspiring for a homeostatic lifestyle, mistakenly thinking the way to make that happen is through being at the will of conformity. But we need our individuality for personal growth and development. And trying to fit into societal norms lessens our capability to be who we really are and robs us of our personal identity. We continue to conform because we constantly tell ourselves that we will only be acceptable and capable of being admirable if we carry ourselves in a particular manner. But this is also just entirely untrue. We've all fallen victim to normalcy. We've done something or bought something in order to belong. We are all seeking out an idolized version of ourselves to satisfy the image society craves us to be. We've altered the way we dress, what we eat, and our ideas in order to make ourselves more acceptable to society's pawing hands. As I have too sat in this chair, I only find it befitting that I tell you of my own story. I had newly arrived at Krieger Middle School in the 8th grade, with no friends. My new peers were unruly, so I followed them because I craved their acceptance. They had what I wanted: friends. I was skipping class. I could care less about grades, and I even was skipping school in order to get their approval. I, myself, had conformed to their sense of everyday, chaotic normalcy. Troublesome, though, I began to eventually discover my own sense of individuality. In those times of discovery, I realized that I only shared the traits with these popular people that I had newly acquired to fit in with them. I sought refuge in their company so badly that I altered myself to make myself more likable within this group of my peers. In this time of my life, I let this overarching concept of normalcy and comfort overtake my own individualism. Stepping back and reflecting on this situation makes me realize all the sacrifices I had made for a fleeting comfort. We've all conformed in order to fit in with specific groups or people. Another instance where conformity overtakes individuality is on social media, regardless if it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or etc. We see societal conformity wherever we may look. It is the things like popular trends, viral concepts, and recognizable symbols that everyday people begin to associate more with. A prime example of this is when a famous, well-liked person wears a recognizable logo and promotes it. This influences other individuals to buy that brand. Soon enough, everyone is wearing the same brand because it's trendy, safe from judgment, and everybody else just is. From TikTok to Twitter, people have posted the same or similar things to get views and likes from their audiences. The popular content is always the same songs, same dances, and same jokes that have circulated throughout media platforms. People who stray from that popularity scene typically don't get as much attention or recognition as the individual who is on trend. Everyone conforming to posting things that are in demand and relatable share many similarities. They all want to be collectively liked and accepted for this person that they've created. They lack individuality because they're too busy preventing waves and friction. And their social media doesn't really reflect their true selves or what they value. Social media has become a cesspool of conformity, where everyone encourages one another to be the same, and it needs to be stopped. The likes and comments are only capsized, temporary moments of superficial happiness that fade. Being true to yourself is the opposite of this. It is more fulfilling and helps you find your self-image. We've all worn logos like Nikes and Adidas because they are popular and are appealing to us because society has told us so. We also find popular media to be alluring because it's one of those things that decides for you whether or not you're in society's grouping. The issue with the thought of society grouping people is that it's too easy. It is a simple yes or no that determines if you're cool or considered an anomaly. We need to look at societal standards and change this judgment process because it's shallow. Expecting everybody to be the same is the same as expecting everybody to be repetitive robots. We owe it to ourselves to push beyond this idea of conformity and live with a greater purpose in mind. We get so caught up in the temporary happiness that we grow satisfied with its fleeting comforts. It's just safe enough for those of us that the unsatisfying feelings of being outside society's box carry no weight or meaning. In the blind madness of it all, there are also people who believe this concept of conformity is necessary for our survival in modern society. Wall Street journalist Scott believes that conformity is a good thing because it shields us from unnecessary harm and prevents unnecessary ripples. This may be true, but it's those ripples and differences that are essential to challenging and changing society's views and status quo. We need to live boldly and fearlessly, to be outside of the box and get uncomfortable if we ever want to see changes regarding how greatly media affects our lives. We need to, according to Jones, from the TED Talk about being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, get comfortable with the uncomfortable and continually pursue things that are out of our comfort zone to see these results. So, unapologetically live as yourself, free of society and not bound by its expectations. Be courageous and stand up for what you believe in. Make room for individuality and all of those necessary ripples. And as President Kennedy once said, conformity is the jailer of freedom, an enemy of growth. Thank you all for listening.